Friday, December 21st. We're almost there. We're almost at Christmas. We're almost at the full day off on Monday. As usual, we are brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. But first, I got to say, what's up, Adam?
How's it going, man? Nice day off yesterday. Excited to get back to a 10-game slate.
Yeah, once Chris Paul went down, it was essentially a day off for me, minus the actual work that I put in earlier in the day. First and foremost, let's talk Thrive, though. Thrive is our presenting sponsor, and one of my favorite sites now in DFS. You pick a lineup of prop bets, not bets. You pick a lineup of props from the best plays of the day. You'll get a list of 20, and you have to pick your favorite 10. You get a certain amount of points based on whether or not they go over or under. And that's sort of the way you deal with the game theory of selecting the props. Sometimes you'll get, 100 points on either side. Sometimes it's shaded a little bit. And you need to think about the way people will own those guys in relationship to those points. Your own personal likelihood of a player going over or under. And at the end of the show, Adam and I will pick our 5 favorite Thrive props, and we'll give our picks, whether we think they will go over or under their totals. We also have our own personal plugs here. Still have 24 days of giveaways. If you like this video, which you should be doing as soon as you get here, because that's just a no-brainer. We know it's going to be good. Like the video, comment after the video is over, not in the chat. You got to wait until it's over. And you have the opportunity to win a 1-month premium all-access subscription to awesemo.com. And you're entered to win a premium all-access annual package. So many A's in there. Awesemo, all-access, annual. The alliteration is crazy. We will be drawing, and I will be announcing Christmas morning who wins the 1-year free premium all-access annual package. Lots of giveaways going on right now. And you can just sign up if you want. NBA Strategy is the promo code. One big word. It's on the screen. 7-day free trial. Any package at all, including Fantasy Cruncher, if you want to dip your toe in the MMEing waters. It's a pretty nice slate. It's balanced, spread out, nothing crazy. A couple of good games, a couple dreadful games.
Yeah, there's some ugly ones.
Yeah. Bulls Magic in particular is not a great basketball game.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the late games, I think that I might be able to just kind of chill early in the evening and then just watch the 10:30 game.
Speaking of that 10:30 game, boy, oh boy, that is a late night hammer for you.
Yeah,
that's gonna mess up some slates.
Yeah, especially with like some questionable news as of right now too.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that affects like the entirety of the slate. Yeah. It's obviously going to be popular, probably the most popular game, depending on how the injury news shakes out for the Pels. No Mirotic, Randall questionable. I don't know. AD might still have the poops. Let's just dive into it. We've got a lot to talk about. First game up on the list: Hornets and Pistons. Hornets 111 implied total, Pistons 107. So 4-point favorites for the Hornets at home. This one's not that appealing to me. Kemba Walker at a still $9,600 price point on FanDuel is way too high. I mean, he's fantastic, but there's too many other options for him to be all the way up there. 8,600 on DraftKings is much more appealing, in my opinion. So I guess let's start with Kemba. Do you have any interest? He's also $36 on Yahoo.
On DraftKings, yeah. I mean, I think the price tag is just clearly too cheap for the upside that he gives you. Like, he can break a slate, and that's really what you're looking for, especially on these 10-game slates where you're going to need a ton of points to win. Taking a chance on guys like Kemba at that price tag makes a lot of sense. On FanDuel, I'm with you. I can't really see getting there with any sort of regularity, but I do think he has some upside at 8,600.
Yeah, totally agree. Other than that, this is not a Hornets team that I'm really looking to be rostering today.
No.
Go ahead.
What's Zeller's price on FanDuel?
He is 5,300, which is good, but not like crazy good.
Yeah, it's just tough for him to win you a slate. But I just think this is a game where he could very easily play like 32 minutes because of Drummond. and be relatively productive. But like that 48-point game he had last week or the week before, like that happens maybe once a year, once every 2 years for Cody Zeller. So it's still just a play that I don't love because normally he doesn't give you that kind of upside.
Exactly. I'd be more likely to play him in cash. He's a nice
Right.
point per dollar play.
Yep.
Like Jeremy Lamb's priced a bit better on DraftKings. That's fine. Marvin Williams is priced a little bit better on DraftKings, but still kind of expensive for Marvin Williams. I don't know. There's really nothing here outside of the fact that I just can't stop getting Nick Batum in crunches.
Yeah, and I mean Charlotte. I guess it's nice depending on how you want to look at it, but their rotation has just been so inconsistent. I mean, in that last game, we got like 38 minutes from Marvin Williams. We got like 40 minutes from Jeremy Lamb. Malik Monk didn't play at all. So there's at least upside for guys like Williams and Lamb. We've also seen Williams playing more center lately. Hernan Gomez and Kaminsky essentially playing a couple minutes a game in their last couple. So there's upside for that to happen, but still more often than not, I'm expecting them to land in that like 32-minute range.
Talk about the Pistons side where evidently Blake has the flu. So there's that. Both Drummond and Blake are priced a little bit better on FanDuel. Drummond at 9,400, 8,900 on DK. Blake is 93 and 94 respectively. I'm going to assume that you prefer Drummond one way or the other on DraftKings, but I do as well for FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of prefer whichever one's cheaper. But at least in my initial crunch, which, granted, take it for what it's worth because it's still using my baseline stuff and everyone's capped at 60%, but didn't really get much of either one.
Really? I got 22% Drummond on my first crunch.
Yeah, I think I got 0.
Hornets defense has been bad. Total is reasonable. Let me take a look at the position itself. He is the most expensive center on the slate, which is kind of aggressive. But it's Towns at $100 less. Vooch is back, but $400 cheaper. And then you're getting into, the up in the air status of Randall, Gobert, Marc Gasol. So it's either moving down quite a ways into the 6s and 7s for me on FanDuel at least, or paying up for it. And I think today feels like a day where I'd be okay with paying up for it. Now, if Blake is out, how does that affect your love of Andre Drummond?
I like him a lot more just because we had talked about it before, and it's something I'd completely forgotten about until it happened. But Drummond last year, before Blake came, was just like an assist monster, kind of like we've seen from Blake this year. And that went away as soon as Blake got there because you had Blake, facilitating more. But Drummond had really improved his game as a passer. So if Blake's out, not only do you get even more rebounding opportunities for Drummond, so you can, increase that a little bit, but you should get more assist opportunities as well. And it just makes him a much better play, I think.
Yeah, totally agree. I think he would end up being quite popular too. Speaking of being popular, do we have ownership yet? No. Could have answered how popular he was almost immediately. Any other part of the Pistons? Let's say Blake is out, because I don't think we really need to dive into the 3 through 7, 8, 9 section of the Pistons unless he is out. What's the impact if Blake Griffin sits?
I think the biggest boost should be to Stanley Johnson. He's been his direct backup. He's getting usage lately. It's just that the minutes aren't there. Like he's with Luke Kennard starting, with Brown playing, anywhere from like 12 to 24 minutes, with Galloway playing a bunch. The minutes haven't really been there for Stanley Johnson, but he is playing those backup 4 minutes. So if Griffin's out, I would expect him to be the one that picks up the most minutes. And he's getting shots up. He's cheap. It's still Stanley Johnson. Like the ball might not go in the basket, but the opportunity will be there for him.
What about John Lure?
I don't.
Uh-oh. You there? Or are you you're popping in and out. Whatever you said about John Lure, I have no idea what it was.
He should get minutes as well if Griffin's out. But I think Stanley Johnson would be the one that I prefer.
Okay. That makes sense. Only 3,600 for Stanley Johnson on DK. Lure only 31, so there's not that big of a savings. Johnson's 4,100 on FanDuel. Lure is the flat min, so I think that's all for this game. Let's move on to this barn burner. Raptors and Cavs. 110 implied total for the Raptors, 97.5 for the Cavs. Do you think the second best 5 guys on the Raptors are better than the Cavs?
Yes.
Okay. That's kind of where I was going with this. There's too many bodies, and that's without some of these bodies. No Kyle Lowry, looking to be out for a couple games. What is this, 12.5 point total? Oh my God. Kawhi is 10-4 on FanDuel, 9,500 on DK. Normally I'm the Kawhi whisperer, not from a health perspective, but the fact that I get him in a lot of crunches. That's not today. I love him, but I don't. We've been. I guess we were in the prediction or the business of looking at blowouts, but I don't see how the Cleveland Cavaliers can even be in this game now. Cue the Cavs winning outright like the Suns did against the Celtics 2 days ago, but I'm assuming you're ignoring Kawhi.
I mean, I like him. It's just that I kind of doubt that I end up getting there.
Yeah.
I have him projected for like 50 fantasy points.
Yeah. So do I. Yeah. I don't want it to seem like this isn't a fantastic spot for him, but if ever the day to just put cruise control on and casually beat the Cavs and let DeLon Wright and Pascal Siakam shine, just random dudes, whatever. Ibaka, if he is back, 5,900 on DK seems pretty appealing.
Yeah, pretty nice price tag on him if he's back for sure. If he's out, then obviously, another 22 to 24 minutes of Greg Monroe would be perfectly fine.
Yeah. Anybody else standing out big time here? The prices are a little bit better down the line on FanDuel. We have Van Vliet is $200 cheaper than he is on DK. He's the flat min on Yahoo.
Wow. So I don't really know what to make of Van Vliet. I had said that I didn't really like him last game, and it worked out. But going back and looking, it's more that I got lucky it worked out than anything. Because my reasoning was that in his time with Kawhi on the floor without Lowry so far this year, we really hadn't seen much usage. We hadn't seen a ton in the way of assists, and he kind of just been a body out there. He got up 17 shots in that game, in their most recent game. He only made 4 of them, but I mean, he's gonna play, low to mid 30s, and I guess obviously has the potential at least to get up a bunch of shots. I'm still not confident in giving him like a 23.5% usage rate like he had in that game, but I think he's someone that if the field's going to shy away from him after that bad game, then I'm fine, kind of going overweight and hoping that those shots go in. But if the field's going to keep just being like, oh, Lowry's out, plug in Van Vliet, then I think his price tag's expensive enough to where it's pretty unlikely that he, breaks the slate, and I can just fade him at high ownership.
Now at $10 on Yahoo, feel free to jam him right in.
yeah, no question.
You don't have to get too cute on that one. God, what should his ownership be? I mean, I guess we'll have to take a look at some of the other prices that are on this slate, but Van Vliet at $10 on Yahoo tonight is he's as close to a lock as possible.
Yeah, I don't really know how to not have 100%.
Yeah.
Like that's the equivalent of him being $2,500 on DraftKings.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Any Danny Green or Wright and any of these guys here?
No. Siakam, especially if Ibaka's out, I think is still intriguing.
Yeah.
Trying to get the rotation last game to low because I know there it is. So they closed with Siakam at the 5, which is was good to see, and they can certainly do that again against Cleveland. It's not like Cleveland has a traditional center closing their games either.
At least not a good one.
Right. Yeah.
Like Zizic can be out there and all, but
yeah. Well, but I assume Larry Nance closes.
Agreed.
Yeah, and so I would expect, and this is obviously assuming the game is remotely competitive, but I would expect, Cleveland's closing lineup to have Nance and Toronto to close with Pascal Siakam again. So it makes him, again, a really appealing play.
Yeah. Any chance you think Kawhi sits on the front end? Sixers tomorrow.
I mean, you would think.
He should.
Right.
Like if you're gonna do it, this is the one to do it.
He's also dodged like every marquee matchup on back-to-back so far this year.
Yeah. Well, don't come to me for this sort of advice, people. Just hope, with it being a 7:00 start, by all accounts, we will know this one way or the other. So at least I don't have to get burned by Kawhi again.
If he sits, just get like all the Van Vliet, all the Pascal. If Ibaka plays, all the Ibaka, like everyone on this team, because they would all be underpriced even if they only played 3 quarters.
Yeah. Kawhi is like my personal chlamydia in DFS.
That's a really interesting reference. I've never heard that before.
It's burning me. We'll go to Cleveland. Larry Nance, 7,300 on FanDuel, 67 on DK. I'm going to have a tough time here at 7,300. I love Larry Nance and all, but we're starting to get to a really undesirable price point. He's going to really need minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, if the game stays competitive, they should be there, though. I think he should get around 34 minutes. One thing I did notice the other day when I was looking up how bad the Wizards are, Toronto's actually tied with the Wizards over the last month for the second most offensive rebounds per game allowed. That's kind of Larry Nance's bread and butter. Like when you get big Larry Nance games, it's because in large part, offensive rebounding, getting putbacks, stuff like that. So certainly upside for him. I agree with you that the price tag's getting to where there's risk. But he's just still someone that I really like whenever Tristan Thompson's not on the floor. 6,700 with power forward eligibility on DraftKings is certainly more appealing.
Yeah, I got 2% of him on FanDuel, and I think that's like anything that I get of him is fine for me. Really difficult to make a priority with some of the other guys at power forward today.
Yeah, I don't think I got much in my initial. Yeah, I got none in my initial DraftKings crunch, but my baselines are also completely wrong. So
perfect.
Yeah,
a very reliable crunch.
Yeah, they're set for his like normal numbers, factoring in all his time alongside Tristan Thompson.
Gotcha. Colin Sexton is someone that I just, for some reason, can't stop getting. But he's 4,700, and he's going to play 30 plus minutes by all accounts. Do you have a problem with that by any chance?
No,
kind of hoping you do.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not someone that I would want to go to in like cash games on this slate, but he shoots. He doesn't do a lot else, but he's got like a 27% usage rate over the last month. We've seen him be more aggressive. There's obviously plenty of ways for it to go poorly with Burks and Clarkson and Hood all capable of scoring, but the price tag is low enough where he certainly has a nice ceiling.
Anytime that you have to explain how well a player can do in the day, and your first sentence is, well, he shoots. Not like he shoots well, not like he gets buckets.
He has a 46% effective field goal percentage over the last month.
He shoots. And that is like, that matters. That's a redeeming quality at $4,700. You can luck your way into buckets.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, honest. So when I, first started playing NBA DFS, like I was there, semi-seriously, and I was still in law school, so like I didn't have a ton of time to do like in-depth research. I still spent more time on it than I should have. But like the easiest way, and it really, as far as at least getting ceiling in tournaments, was just like I would find guys whose price tags were coming down. I would find guys who were just chucking shots, and when both of those things were the same player, I would just play a bunch of them, and when they were low owned, I'd win a bunch of money. Yeah. Like just looking at guys that get up shots gives you upside naturally.
I get a lot of Chetty too. Again, 4,700. I just can't stop soaking up the minutes from Cleveland. I don't like it. I'm not happy about it. Both of these guys are, we've got Sexton at 3% on FanDuel, 5% for Osman. So I don't need to be where I got him on my original crunch. I can adjust this stuff, but oh God, it doesn't make me comfortable to have Cleveland.
I wish Chetty
Rodney Hood, which I'm not that I'm comfortable, but he's only 4,100.
Yeah. I wish Chetty would stop being 4,200 on DraftKings. Like I still don't get a lot of him, but it's a nice price tag for the minutes.
Yeah.
He does not shoot that much though.
No, he does not.
Really does nothing.
Do you want anything from Cleveland other than Nance?
No, I mean Clarkson's kind of in the same boat where he can have a good game in tournaments. Like he's an okay tournament play, but the minutes are anywhere from like 24 to 32 minutes. So it's not anything that I would do with confidence.
Okay. Circling back, I just wanted to take a look at the ownership on Charlotte. Nothing crazy, everything balanced. Pistons, it's all essentially Drummond and Blake. So nothing that we need to touch on.
Who was out last game for Cleveland? Or their rotation just looks weird, like it's like body short. Maybe it's just because they only played 9 guys and they had been playing like 13.
Nah, someone was out. Someone got 86th. Thompson. Oh, Delhi didn't play.
Okay, right, yeah.
I knew somebody didn't play, and
because I was looking and Clarkson played like 35 minutes, and I was just like, but I couldn't figure out where, like, who got their minutes chopped, and yeah, it's because Delhi's not in there.
And by all accounts, I think Deli's was just like rest or like the sniffles or something stupid. It wasn't like a real injury.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nets hosting the Indiana Pacers. 104.25 implied total for the Nets. 106.75 for the Pacers. Oh, God. This is not an appealing fantasy game. And
No,
yet,
it's not.
I've got a lot of it. So, the prices for Indiana are just insane on FanDuel. We're going to start up Brooklyn, though. 6,900 for D'Angelo Russell. 6,900 on DK. I like D'Angelo Russell here as much as I can like D'Angelo Russell against one of the better fantasy defenses.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brutal spot for Brooklyn, just in terms of pace and in terms of Indiana's, defensive abilities. But, Russell chucks.
Yeah.
And when he plays
shoots.
well, yeah. And when he plays well, he can get into that like 32, 33-minute range. So it's not as nice a spot for Russell as we've seen in the last couple of games, but the price tag is also down, adjusting for that. So if he projects to be really popular, he's certainly the kind of guy that you can fade in this matchup. But, assuming that he's not, then, he gives you 50 fantasy point upside for less than $7,000.
Yeah, I got to keep an eye on him. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson is a guy that always pops for me that I'm never happy about. 5,400 on FanDuel, 4,900 on DK. Similarly, I'm getting some Joe Harris, but do you have any interest really in anything here? Jared Allen for 51 on DK, maybe?
Not really. I mean, Allen's fine if you get there, but the minutes are still really inconsistent. The position obviously has a lot of opportunity cost.
Yeah.
I'd rather get to Myles Turner on the other side, even though he's more expensive.
Sure. Ugh. Yeah, if Rondé Hollis-Jefferson is 17% owned today, I shouldn't be with the field.
No.
Um,
I'm trying to, because I know Hollis Jefferson played like 38 minutes 2 games ago. In that game again, I think it was against LA maybe, when Kuzma was playing a bunch of minutes at center.
Yeah. Yeah, he played 38 on December 28th.
Yeah, played 28 last game against Chicago. Davis played 17. Allen played 30. Yeah, so Hollis Jefferson played 0 minutes at center against the Bulls, which is what we had seen more often than not from Brooklyn. And against Indiana, I don't expect Brooklyn to give Hollis Jefferson minutes at the 5, just because it hasn't seemed like this season that they've been looking to do that. It's more that they'll react and they'll do it if the other team goes really small.
Yeah.
But I don't expect them to force it against Sabonis or Turner.
No, it would surprise me here. Let's talk about Indiana. 8,300 for Oladipo on FanDuel, 8,100 on DraftKings. I love the price for Oladipo. I'd like to have a lot here. I was really concerned with him 2 nights ago. He looked bad. 3 shot attempts in the first half. Just wasn't the Victor Oladipo you would expect. I don't like looking into stuff like that. Do you have any interest in Oladipo?
Yeah, I love the price tag.
Okay.
I would expect him to be one of my higher owned guys, just because, I mean, realistically at 8,100, it's really tough for him to play 36 minutes and suck, and it's really easy for him to be a guy that you have to have in your lineup.
Okay, that makes me feel better then. I'm probably going to have a lot of Oladipo. I ended up on him quite a bit. It had to be Wednesday night, right? Yeah. All the crazy value opened up.
Yeah, I don't think I had him Wednesday. I had him against Cleveland, maybe?
Yeah, that was Wednesday, right?
Oh, I don't know. I thought that was 2 games ago.
I can't remember anymore. Whatever game. Yeah, it was the game they lost against Cleveland. He played like shit.
Yeah.
That's the moral of this story, is that he was garbage.
Yeah, their last game was against Toronto, where he was also garbage.
Okay. Yeah,
but
I didn't have him there. I had him for Cleveland.
Yeah. The Cleveland game was when I got stuck with my dummy lineup in 100% of my DraftKings entries, and I had Oladipo in it.
Yeah. Which, at least it's a lifeline, but...
Yeah.
Myles Turner, 7,300 on both sites. I wish I were getting him at all. I'm not. I feel like I should. He's been at 1.26 fantasy points per minute over the last 30 days. Just playing really, really well. Obviously, we know that beating up on Brooklyn at the 5 has been a thing for as long as I can remember. What do you want to do with Myles Turner tonight? It's kind of a tough sell for me on DK.
Yeah, I mean, the price tag's not great, but the minutes have been up. Even last game, he played 26 minutes against Toronto, but he dealt with some second half foul trouble. We've been seeing, 32, 34 minutes from him. It's a spot, like you said, where centers have been doing great all season long. He personally has dominated this matchup for years. Not that it's the same. Like Brooklyn used to be the fastest team in the league. Now they're not. But it's still just I think a pretty nice spot for Turner. The price tag probably keeps his ownership down, but like you said, he's just been playing incredibly well lately, and the minutes have been up too. So I'm looking to get him in tournaments.
Yeah, so am I. I might have to take a closer look at that. I have him at 30 minutes right now, and that's probably my downfall. It's gonna, if I get him to probably 32, he pops up pretty aggressively. It's all about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't have him projected as highly as I would like to right now.
Yeah. Thad Young is a guy that I'm getting quite a bit of. He's 5,800 on both sites. Like I said, the moral of the story for the Pacers is significantly better pricing on my site. I assume that Thad Young is not someone on your radar on DraftKings.
No, it is worth noting, like his rebounding lately has been insane.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think he's priced up enough where I don't think I'll get much.
Sabonis, I'm not getting a ton of. 6,500 on FanDuel, 6,600 on DK. There's no upside to his minutes outside of like Myles Turner dying.
Right. And it's a spot. I mean, if he got minutes, like he would absolutely destroy Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But I just don't think I can get him enough minutes to play him at that price on a full 10-game slate.
Not outside of 150. Like,
right.
To go in like a single entry or 3 max. That's scary for me. I get a lot of Bojan.
If I get him to like 26 minutes.
Go ahead.
I'll say, like, if I get Sabonis to 26 minutes, he ends up being like a positive play for me. I would end up with him projected for like 35.5 points.
Okay.
So if I'm playing 150 lineups, I'm sure I would end up with some Sabonis, and obviously just don't play him with Turner because the easiest path to him winning a slate for you is Turner getting in foul trouble.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, if I'm like single entering something, I don't think I need $6,600 Sabonis.
Exactly. Bojan, 5,000 on FanDuel, 5,200 on DK. I think he's fine as filler. Darren Collison, 4,500 on FanDuel, 4,500 on DK. Again, I think he's perfectly fine as filler. Nothing stand out here, but just underpriced guys on FanDuel that you should be fine with ending up in your lineup if they're the second to last guy in or last guy in.
Yeah, I agree. Like both of those guys take hits with Oladipo back, but the price tag, especially for Collison, that price tag's fallen, I think, a little bit too far.
Yeah. Yeah, 4,500 is crazy. Now, again, most of this last 30 days has been without Oladipo, but 0.91 fantasy points per minute.
Yeah. Like Bojan, I think, is kind of a guy where he's an okay point per dollar play, but it would just be like shocking if he's someone that really like obliterates that price tag. But Collison at 4,500, like he should still play around 30 minutes. And you don't need to run that good to get, like a 30, like a 32, 35 point game out of Collison at 4,500.
Yeah. Anybody else in this game?
No.
Moving on. I don't even want to talk about this one. There's just too much.
Atlanta, New York.
Yeah. 116 implied total for the Knicks, 114 for the Hawks. Two worst defenses in basketball. Knicks 8% worse than average on a per possession basis. Hawks 7% worse. I mean, monster pace up spot for the Knicks. I don't even know how to really talk about it, but we're going to work our way through it because honestly, there might be 10 guys in play for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Enes Kanter, 6,700 on FanDuel, 7K on DraftKings. I mean, this is a fantastic spot for Kanter, 6,700 on FanDuel. He can really blow that price out of the water.
Yeah, no question. Mitchell Robinson still being out obviously helps to solidify those minutes. And if you go back, they've been in a couple of blowouts recently, the Knicks. So, if you look, you only get like 29 minutes from Kanter last game, but he lost about 4 minutes because they were losing by 20 points late in the fourth. So you're looking at, a 33, 34-minute game for Kanter against an Atlanta team that he should just absolutely wreck on the boards. They don't have an answer to stop him offensively. It's really, really difficult not to like, 32 to 34 minutes of Enes Kanter in this spot.
I have him at 29 minutes just right now before really looking into anything else, and he's still popping like crazy. So
Yeah.
I don't have to get super aggressive with his minutes to have it just go insane. Oh, God. 6,700 is just too cheap for him by like a mile. He's probably my favorite center of the day on FanDuel.
Yeah, that sounds completely reasonable.
It doesn't make me happy, but it's, it's real.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best rebounders in the NBA. He's facing one of the worst rebounding teams who also plays really fast and who misses a ton of shots. If he stays on the floor and he gets 32 to 34 minutes, like how does he not just go nuts?
He's probably the safest Nick today too, from the perspective of like he kind of has to play a ton of minutes barring foul trouble.
Right.
The rest of this is just a grab bag of people. Like Emmanuel Mudiay, 6,400 on FanDuel, 6,200 on DK. I'm getting a lot of Mudiay. I don't like it because he's Emmanuel Mudiay, but it's the Hawks.
It's terrifying because the Knicks have actually been running a pretty tight rotation lately, and it just feels like the other foot's going to drop at any point. You're going to get one of those games where everyone plays 20 minutes.
I'm expecting one where Mudiay plays 12 and Trey Burke goes from not playing to 31 minutes.
Right. But yeah, I mean, obviously you have to just go with the information we have. Yeah. And if you're going to get 30 plus minutes from Mudiay, the price tags come up, but it's still, over the last month, a 26% usage rate, averaging a fantasy point per minute, now getting a phenomenal spot here against Atlanta. How do you not like him outside of the risk factor of the Knicks just blowing everything up at any given point?
Yeah. Let's keep this train moving because I've got a lot more Knicks in my lineups. Tim Hardaway, 7,000 on FanDuel, 7,400 on DK. Again, just probably too cheap, even though I think he's garbage. I just don't know what else to do with him. It's the Hawks. Revenge narrative game for Tim Hardaway, I guess.
I feel like he's had monster games against them, which isn't surprising.
No.
I don't even
as he
not
should.
even with revenge. Like it probably has to do with just playing against the Hawks.
At least for the past 2 years. Yeah, I'm gonna have some Tim Hardaway. Kevin Knox, 6,300 on FanDuel, 6K on DK. He's probably one of the only guys that are actually priced normally here, but he's playing monster minutes.
Yep. Yeah, ever since he joined the starting lineup. And so by the way, Hardaway has faced Atlanta twice. Twice this season. 33.1 and 37.4 usage percentages in those two games.
Jesus. We don't have to tell you that that's good, everybody. Would you play Knox?
Yeah, I mean, like he wouldn't be a priority compared to like Mudiay or Cantor, but I still have him at he's 6K on DraftKings. Like he should play 36 to 38 minutes, and even though he's starting now and he's playing more minutes alongside Hardaway and alongside Cantor, it really hasn't hurt him. He has a 22% usage rate over the last month. That's it's down a little bit from his time when he was just playing on the bench, but it's still perfectly fine. So I think, I mean, I would have him behind Cantor. I'd have him behind Mudiay. But I would rather play $6,000 Knox than $7,400 Hardaway.
One more. Noah Vonleh, 6,100 on FanDuel, 5,600 on DK. Again, I'm gonna have some. Would you prefer Vonleh or Knox?
Knox. I just think that his minutes, he plays more minutes, and they're a little bit safer. I mean, Vonleh obviously he can play a bunch of minutes as well. He does a lot when he's out there. I just think that Knox is like always going to play 36 minutes barring foul trouble, whereas Vonleh plays anywhere from like 30 to 36.
Okay, that's fair. Do you want any of the rest of the bottom half of this? Any confidence in anyone else?
No. What's the price difference on FanDuel for Knox and Vonleh? I know the other day there was a huge one.
$200.
I think I would lean. It's really close. Like if I give Vonleh 32 minutes and I give Knox 36, I end up with like very similar point per dollar projections.
Yeah, I have him at 34 and 30, and it's a very like coin flippy situation at that point. Yeah. Let's go to Atlanta. John Collins, most expensive guy in this game on FanDuel and DK, 8,400, 7,800 on DraftKings. I mean, I like the spot, but that is a lot of dollars for John Collins.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, he's also just been so consistent this season. It's a nice spot for him. I don't have any problem if I get him. Like I have him projected for like 40 something fantasy points.
Yeah, he would be fine if I got to him, but I just feel like I can't trust it at that number yet. I don't know. I have some weird bias for him in my head, even though I think he's really good. Well,
Yeah,
like
I do
really good
too.
as a fantasy guy, at least.
Yeah, I do too. But he's also one of the only guys whose minutes I actually trust on Atlanta. With Atlanta, we basically have the same issue we do with the Knicks, where there's a bunch of guys where if they get minutes, they should be productive, but who knows how many they're going to get. Collins has been like the one consistent guy where he's out there getting a bunch of minutes normally, barring foul trouble, which is what he ran into against Washington. So I think that if he stays out of foul trouble, getting like 34 to 36 minutes from Collins is what I would expect.
Yeah, he's in a weird spot from a salary tier perspective. We've got AD at the clear top. Then we drop to, I guess, what we would say is like mildly questionable Blake Griffin at 9,300. Collins slots in at 84. Then we go to Aldridge at 8. And then we're dropping down to like Markkanen and Nance and Kuzma. I just feel a lot more comfortable with the guys in like the 6s and high 5s at power forward today than I do going up a lot there.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I don't know.
Of course, the Hawks decided to play Alex Len minutes last game just to like tempt me into going there again.
Yeah. Bazemore 6,800 on FanDuel, 62 on DK. He's popping up a little bit for me. The shooting guard position today is not the best, so I'll probably talk myself into some Bays. This game could be really ugly. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, this game, it feels like it'll make or break the slate, because you're either going to have like, a 120 to 118 game where like 8 guys go nuts, or you're going to have both of these teams just like blow it up in the middle of the game and every single player sucks.
Yeah. Knicks 30th in the league in effective field goal percentage. Hawks 25th. Defensively, the Knicks are 28th. The Hawks are dead last. So something has to break there. Two incredibly awful scoring teams from an efficiency standpoint going up against two of the worst defenses for allowing that kind of stuff. I don't know how that breaks out. Do you have anybody that you really have your eye on? He's not a guy that I love on FanDuel, but 6,300 for Trae Young is worth a peek here in New York.
Yeah, no problem with him. Not like jumping off the page for me or anything. Kind of similar to Bazemore. If I get some, I get some, but probably won't be a priority. Really though, like I was half joking, but $3,400 Alex Len on DraftKings, where you can roster 2 centers. No idea how many minutes he's going to play. Like, he's barely been in the rotation until last game. He played 20 minutes, and all 48 center minutes were between Dedmon and Len. Like, if he gets 20 minutes here, he should just smash.
Yeah.
He also could play 6, but
it's not like there's anything to worry about on the Knicks front court.
Right. And they do play big, at least. I mean, if we're projecting like 34 minutes from Cantor, then at least that's 34 minutes where they have like a real center out there.
Yeah. You want any Linsanity narrative?
It's kind of the same idea as Len, except a higher floor.
Yeah. I'm good on the rest of these guys.
Yeah,
this
I
game
definitely
is going to be insane.
Yeah.
You could turn this game on, and at the end of the first quarter, it could be like 14-12, and they're both like 27% from the field. Cantor picked up 2 quick ones, so they've got the unicorn Ed in there for 18 minutes, and but yeah, there's going to be a lot to keep an eye on this game.
It definitely has the potential to be like that game, like 2 weeks ago, where Phoenix was chalk with everyone out, and they scored like 9 points in the first quarter, and you just felt like the biggest idiot in the world for playing anyone from Phoenix.
It's like, oh, of course, everyone blows.
Right.
They all blow. We knew this. 2 of the worst 5 teams in the league. That should be fun. All right, everybody, hit that like button. Comment after this video for your opportunity to win a free month of premium all access. Can't beat it. Still don't know what we're going to be commenting, but we'll figure something out as we go through. I'll have to look through the responses on the Pam Anderson Carmen Electra debate from last night, which it's clearly Pam Anderson. Boston Celtics hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. 112.5 implied total for the Celtics, 111.5 for the Bucks. No Al Horford, I assume. Oh well, and no Aaron Baines now. Broken hand, starting to get a little bit thin in the front court for the Celts. really going to need Marcus Morris to be healthy and effective in this one. Let's start on the Boston side. A little bit of a pace-up spot for them. Kyrie, 9,400 on FanDuel, 8,700 on DraftKings. Feels like a pretty nice Kyrie spot.
Yeah, huge paced up spot. And he's just been playing so well lately and been so aggressive offensively. Has like a 32.5% usage rate over the last month after a slow start to the season. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good Milwaukee defense overall, but just the extra possessions for Kyrie and the fact that we know he's going to be the one with the ball in his hands, I think that the price tag is perfectly fine. He hit being basically the same price as Kemba. I think that it's like the perfect spot to just look at their ownership and probably just do the inverse of whatever the field's doing.
All right. Tell me which way you want to go now. Kyrie Irving at 12%, Kemba Walker at 12%.
Damn it.
That's perfect. How do you go the opposite of the same?
Yeah, hopefully one of them goes up and one of them goes down.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do agree with your point. Public is on it on this one. They're like, no, you're not playing that game with us. Terry Rozier, 4K on FanDuel, 4,200 on DK. I can't stop getting him for reasons that I don't understand. I mean, I guess it's, a factor of not understanding that there's really no upside in his minutes. But he's just too cheap on FanDuel.
Is he?
I don't know, isn't he?
I mean,
help me quit Terry Rozier. I like Terry Rozier more than Boston fans trying to use him as a trade chip.
What's the point in playing Terry Rozier with Kyrie in?
I agree. I don't like it. It looks terrible to me. But the problem is that when we're looking at this, when we're doing any of our sort of implied ownership type stuff, someone like Terry Rozier doesn't have a huge right tail. It's kind of like there's a wall built,
right,
so that he can't really soak up all of that extra upside that seems to be there in a normal bell curve. Just doesn't really have that. So he grades out so much better in those instances because it doesn't really realize that outside of a Kyrie injury, because he's not going to get in foul trouble. I'm going to pay for that one tonight. He's getting in foul trouble for sure. I just don't know what else to do with him. I just have to, I guess, manually say no to Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
That'll work.
That's probably a good way to go.
Yeah, well, that's why we talk through these things. I would never end up with the 20% Terry Rozier that I got. Let's be clear here. I would see that immediately and cap it, but
so to your point about the upside, Terry Rozier, obviously, he's going to project similarly on a minute standpoint and everything to Jeremy Lin, but Jeremy Lin is just far and away the better play out of the two of them.
Absolutely. That is a great point. Not even comparable. Because Jeremy Lin could legitimately keep playing if he's playing well. They could just be go for it. Whereas I don't think that Terry Rozier would stick.
No.
Because that's what happens when it's Kyrie and not Trae Young.
Right, exactly. If Kyrie starts playing as bad as Trae Young is, then maybe Rozier can stay out there, but that probably won't happen for another 10 years when Kyrie's 38. So until then, it's pretty tough to see Rozier just staying on the floor over Kyrie.
Who do you want from Boston?
Kyrie. But also, I think that in tournaments, especially where he's power forward eligible, Robert Williams is interesting at only 3,800. Comments from Kyrie about wanting to play with him more because he likes the aspect of having Robert Williams at the rim to catch lobs. And then obviously he's been very good in terms of blocks and everything as well. So with Baines out, I think that there's at least potential for Robert Williams to, kind of take over those front court minutes from Daniel Tice.
Okay. Anybody else? Do you want Marcus Morris if he's playing?
Not really. I mean, I think the price tag's just kind of fair on him.
Okay.
I think I'd probably rather go Hayward where he's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, 5,400 for him on DK is not bad at all. Yeah. I got some Robert Williams, 11%, 4,600 on FanDuel as the center. I don't really know how to manage that. It's a kind of weird spot to pay down to, but
yeah, I don't really like it as a center on FanDuel. It's more as in 150 lineups having some at power forward on DraftKings.
Yeah.
This game should probably close small, right? Maybe.
You talking like Giannis at the 5 small?
Yeah.
Bledsoe, Middleton, Brogdon, Giannis, George Hill. Who's the 5th guy? Sterling Brown?
Any of their wings.
You would think. I mean, this screams like Marcus Morris at the 5 closing with, I mean, it doesn't matter who else, but yeah.
Right.
Jaylen Brown at 4,100. Any interest there on FanDuel?
Yes. It's Jaylen Brown. Like, he's probably not going to play well, but
yeah, the same interest we've had for a month and a half.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's worth noting, assuming Morris comes back, like, I think Jaylen Brown's projection goes back to 20 to 22 minutes. So it's not a great play, but he's at least the kind of guy where, if he is playing well and, if this game were to go small, he'd benefit as well. So, 4,100, I think that it's okay.
Okay. Let's go to Milwaukee. 11-7 for Giannis on FanDuel, 11,000 on DraftKings. I feel like I need to start digging into the Celtics defensive ratings with Horford off the floor. This strikes me as like a monster spot for Giannis, but also not necessarily like the best game for Giannis. What do you want to do with him?
I mean, so it partly depends on Julius Randle, because if Julius Randle's out, I just don't know how to not play like Anthony Davis everywhere.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine for Giannis. I have him right now at like 60 DraftKings points, which obviously is good. But not, yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for me to get him over Anthony Davis regardless, but especially if Randle's out.
I also have a preference to a small forward from Los Angeles as well, who's a little bit cheaper and in clearly a fantastic matchup in the late night hammer. So
it's way too early for me. I was just like Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, man. I'm fading Giannis for Brandon Ingram in his return game. I don't know what everybody else is on. Brandon Ingram projected 1% ownership on FanDuel, so I'm going to be 45 times the field tonight.
You're like slightly less expensive than Giannis. I'm just like, yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, and I like him at 11K.
Right.
Yeah, I don't... man, 11-7 on FanDuel is so big here. But I just don't know who slows him down on Boston now. No Horford is a problem for him. Or, well, a problem for Boston.
Yeah.
Anybody catching your eye from the rest of the Bucks?
Not really. I mean, Middleton's price tag's still too cheap, but it's just not a great spot.
Yeah. I got a little bit of Middleton, 7,000 on FanDuel. Brook Lopez, I got 13%, 4,900. If I'm paying down for a center, I'd probably rather have Brook Lopez at 4,900 than Robert Williams at 4,600.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't know. I'm not getting a ton of Milwaukee, and that probably has a little bit to do with just, nerves of the Boston defense. These are basically two of the best fantasy defenses in the league.
Yeah, and I mean, the price tags aren't great on Milwaukee. Like, Bledsoe and Middleton are a little cheap, but it's not like it's egregious. Yeah. Like, would you rather play Bledsoe at 6,700 against Boston or D'Angelo Russell at 6,900 against Indiana? Like, I think it's close.
Yeah, it's close. It's probably Russell.
Yeah, I would lean Russell, I think.
Just looking to see who else is in that area. Buddy Hield.
Especially like Robert Williams has been so good around the rim, blocking shots, that I think that's probably a little bit of a downgrade for Bledsoe.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I liked this more. We'll see. If value starts opening up in crazy ways, obviously the amount of exposure to Giannis will go up significantly.
Right.
For now, there's just too many other guys I prefer. Ooh, God. You ready for this one? Chicago Bulls hosting the Orlando Magic. Bulls 99.75 implied total. Magic 102.25. Start on the Chicago side, I guess. No Levine for a while. I think they're probably going to have to... no Bobby Portis for a while. I assume that they're going to have to dust Jabari Parker back off. But I got some Chris Dunn, 7,500 on FanDuel. I got some Wendell Carter because I forgot to manually bring him down from the lofty projection I get of him every single morning. Anything from the Bulls?
It's just such an unappealing game. I mean, I like Chris Dunn. I have no issue with the spot, although Orlando has kind of quietly been a decent defense. And obviously they play really slow. You should get like 26% usage over 34 to 36 minutes from Dunn, which makes him fine. But it's just, such an unappealing game that it's not really a priority. The same really goes for Lauri Markkanen, although I expect him to play fewer minutes. But beyond that, there's not really anything for me.
It's 99.75. Two teams under 100 today, Bulls and Cavs, and they are very similar in their lack of skill anywhere. Talk about the Magic side. Vooch back, 9K on FanDuel, 9,200 on DK. That's a really, really nice price point on FanDuel, but I need more minutes than 31. So what do you have his minutes projected for?
32.
Okay. What do you think of him for 9K on FanDuel then?
I mean, I think it's a great spot. The issue is just like how many possessions are there going to be in this game?
Yeah.
But it's a spot where he should do really well. Obviously not a good Chicago defense, also not a good rebounding team. He's another guy that rebounds, really well and obviously can score a ton on the offensive end. So I really like the spot for him. It's just that the game as a whole is so unappealing that it's tough to really confidently be like, oh, like I'd rather have him than Drummond, or oh, I'd rather have him than Towns, at the top, just because of how slow I expect this game to play.
Yeah, it needs to play out so much differently to prefer him to other centers.
I do have him projected for like 50 points on DraftKings though. So
50?
Yeah.
Oh, I have less than that.
I just put in his rates over the last month and got a nice little bump.
I would be closer. I have him at 1.35 fantasy points per minute today. He's been at 1.48 over the past 30, so I'm a little lower. I probably could conceivably bump that up a bit, but I'm not just going to end up with a ton of him. I'd rather get to Drummond or Towns, or start working my way down to Cantor. Like I have a hard time justifying him over Cantor because of Cantor's price. Cantor's
a really good point.
On FanDuel specifically, like I know Vooch's price is better on FanDuel, but I don't get the luxury of having two centers, and if I have to pick between those two specifically, I'm going to use that extra $2,300 or whatever it is to get me to AD or Giannis or Bron or someone else.
Yeah. And I mean, when you compare it to Cantor, Vooch is going to project for more points by a little bit, but just in terms, like Vooch can obviously go out there and score you 55 fantasy points, and it's not really that difficult. But if Cantor plays 34 minutes, so can he. It's not like Vooch has a significantly higher raw point ceiling. He might hit it more often.
Yeah. Maybe, if I put Cantor at 31 minutes with Vooch, I would say they basically have the same ceiling tonight.
Right. Exactly.
Especially in a matchup where the Knicks are playing the Hawks.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're talking, like Vegas totals aren't everything by any stretch, but you're talking about a game with like a 230 total versus a game with like a 200 total. And you're talking about guys who are going to, part of the reason that they're such good plays is because of their rebounding upside. I want the game where there's just shots being launched every, 5 seconds, not every 24.
Yeah. Eric S. says Vooch is really fresh too. I believe he had a baby, which from everybody I know that has babies, I don't get the sense that he is fresh right now. I'm sure he would much prefer to play a basketball game than be up at 4 a.m. getting puked on. That's just me.
That's a fair point. His legs are fresh.
Yes, they are. He is probably mentally groggy. Get out of this garbage.
Yeah.
San Antonio Spurs hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves. Spurs 112 implied total. Spurs again. Wolves 108. We'll start on the San Antonio side. DeMar DeRozan 8,300 on FanDuel, 8,000 on DK. I'm just going to start here. I got 1% DeMar DeRozan and not a single other Spur, so feel free to talk about Spurs.
I think DeRozan's too cheap. I mean, 8K for him. Like the Spurs are just getting so cheap, DeRozan in particular, because every game they play is a blowout, whether it's them, blowing another team out or them getting killed. They just do not play competitive games. And so you get, a little bit lower price tag on DeRozan, but in competitive games, he's still going to play 36 to 38 minutes. He's still the team leader in usage. He's still the team leader in assist percentage. It's just really difficult, I think, not to like him at an $8,000 price tag, even though, the Spurs suck. And it is a tough matchup against what has been a very good Minnesota defensive unit since they acquired Robert Covington. It's kind of a toss-up for me between like $8,000 DeRozan and $8,100 Oladipo. I think they're both just way too cheap.
Yeah, so do I. I don't know how to get to them any longer. I don't trust this damn team. Like, let's look around. So DeMar DeRozan is the second most expensive shooting guard tonight. He's the same price as Victor Oladipo. Who would you prefer?
Like an absolute coin flip.
Yeah.
How much is DeRozan on FanDuel?
They're 83.
Okay.
They're projected for the exact same ownership too.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back to see what I had Oladipo for, because right now I have DeRozan at like 47.5 DraftKings points.
Yeah, you are way higher on him than me, even for our general adjustment. I'm at 39.7. How many minutes?
How many minutes?
33.
Okay, I'm at 37.
That'll do it.
And yeah, so I have him projected for 4 more points than Oladipo.
Okay.
So I guess I would say DeRozan over Oladipo.
Okay. After that, like the next closest guy above them is Drew, and that's $1,100. And then below them, you're getting to like Donovan Mitchell at 76, and then you're all the way down to Chris Middleton at 7. So while I agree that he's probably underpriced for what we've come to know of DeMar DeRozan, like he's just kind of priced like correctly in that tier, and that's I'm finding a hard time like extracting value out of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm looking at that crunch I ran before the show, which, as I said, take it for whatever it's worth, because it's just baseline stuff and it'll change a ton. But I'm interested to see how much DeRozan I got if it ever loads.
Aldridge at a flat 8,000. I don't know what to do with this dude.
I do like the spot. He has just absolutely wrecked Tibbs defenses for years. They're just vulnerable against guys with the mid-range game that Aldridge has. So I think he's too cheap too, really, just given that in competitive games he should get around 34 minutes. Towns is going to struggle to defend him. Gibson or Saric isn't going to defend them well either. So I think it's a good spot. I prefer DeRozan out of the two.
Okay. Any Rudy Gay? You big Gay guy today?
Not really. He's clearly like the third guy for me behind DeRozan and Aldridge.
Okay. I assume you don't want any of the rest of this slot.
No, outside of, obviously if you're playing 150 lineups and you want to rotate through some like Bellinelli or Mills or whatever, like they're all cheap. One of them probably pays off their price tag, but nothing that you can be confident in.
Totally agree. Minnesota, 9,300 for Karl Anthony Towns on both sites. I love him on FanDuel at that price tag.
Yeah, I think the price tag is really good on both, on DraftKings too. He's obviously someone I've been very high on basically forever. He plays 38 minutes in competitive games. He's got like a 28% usage rate since the trade. He's averaged almost 1.4 fantasy points per minute. So I like Towns a lot. It's one reason why I think it would be hard for me to get to Vooch, because I just have Towns as a better play.
No Jeff Teague. Let's continue to use that little caveat for the Wolves. I don't have a ton of interest in Derrick Rose, 73 or 7,200. I'm guessing you don't either.
Yeah, I have him as like a decent play. It's just that I think he's too close to guys like DeRozan and Oladipo.
Yeah. Covington is a guy that continues to pop up pretty heavily for me, and I'm actually projecting him with a lower points per minute today than he has been at for the past 30 days. So I would have to like downgrade him from his recent output with the Wolves. I don't know what to do with him though. 6,200 on FanDuel is perfectly reasonable for me. The Spurs don't turn the ball over all that much, which kind of makes me nervous for rostering someone like Covington, but he's been different for the Wolves. Do you have any issue with having some?
I mean, I don't think I'm going to end up with much. I just don't have him projected that highly. Like, even if I give him 34 minutes, which I think might be kind of high, I still just get like a 28-point projection.
Okay, so I have him at 35 minutes. So there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that last, like, he still only played 32 minutes in regulation in that last game. So it just kind of concerns me that the minutes have been down.
Reasonable. I'm going to have to take a look at him again because I don't feel comfortable getting so much. The one guy that I do have some interest in, and that's because you can drop scores on FanDuel, Josh Okogie, 3,600 on FanDuel. I'd like to take some shots there, especially at what we're projecting as no ownership. That feels like a good spot to jam in someone that could be dropped, but also could certainly provide value at his salary.
Yeah, no question. I mean, 3,300 on DraftKings, I think, is perfectly fine as well,
Yeah.
especially with guard and forward eligibility. It's pretty easy to get him in. It's a San Antonio defense that's absolute trash. And with Teague being out, Okogie's the guy that really picks up minutes. He got 31 minutes in regulation last game. Even if you scale that back a little bit and project him for, around 26 or 27, I still think he ends up being a guy that probably doesn't kill you, probably doesn't win you anything that often. But $3,300 is just such a different, like, $3,300 guys are just insanely more valuable than like $4,200 guys.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it's really appealing.
Absolutely. I don't know why I'm thinking about this now. People are talking in chat that, like, shooting guard's always a wasteland. And I was thinking about the fact that we call these positions, these names, like shooting guard and small forward. Why didn't they call it big forward instead of power forward?
How high are you right now?
Not at all, man. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I've had the only thing that's in my body right now is, 25 ounces of coffee and 20 plus ounces of water.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that it's just one of those things where it's like rewired my brain to always think like that.
I mean, why isn't a point guard a passing guard?
I agree. This is the path I'm trying to go down. How long before we stop calling people positions like that? Because it's got to be soon, right? Or is it just always going to be like we're always going to call people small forwards even though they play 3 separate positions?
Probably always will call them things just because it's. I mean, that's one of those things that's going to be that way because that's how it's going to be talked about on like ESPN because it's easy to break down games by calling people a specific position.
Yeah. Eric says, what would you rather be called? It's just like you get someone like Ben Simmons and you got to combine all 4 positions to figure out what he really is. I mean, I guess 3 positions. He's certainly not a shooting guard. Yeah, he's not a shooting guard.
Yeah, definitely not a shooting guard.
No. But he would have been like a big point forward.
Yeah.
I like that one. Coming up with new stuff. Josh, you clearly never played basketball to make that statement. It's a reason why the position is what it is. I played basketball my entire life. I understand why they have their names. I'm just making a joke that one of them is small and you would naturally call the other forward big. Most people name things instead of power. This is going the wrong direction. It was just supposed to be a joke. I understand why they named the positions the positions. Come on, guys. Oh, God. Ooh, that one's good. Cat, soft center. I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
I like that a lot. Anything else from Minnesota?
No.
Never played basketball. You're good. You're good. Don't worry about it, man. Yeah, I'm very much joking. I understand the position names loud and clear. I was kind of like a point center growing up because I grew too fast, so I was a lot taller than everybody else. And all like the tiny guys that were playing point guard, if they ever pressed, they couldn't like dribble their way out of the press because they were getting trapped by bigger people. So then I would catch it at the opposite free throw line and have to get it up past half court and then hand that shit off because I couldn't dribble worth shit. Terrible.
Yeah, I was definitely on the point guard end of that spectrum.
Yeah, I could just picture my buddies getting trapped in the corner, and they like whoever was guarding me was inevitably like We had like one or two other people that were as tall as me in our like league. So
Yeah.
normally it was just like, okay, well, we'll be fine to get it up here now. We won't turn it over immediately. We'll turn it over once we get it past half court. 0-27,
Yeah.
7th grade and 8th grade.
Nice. Yeah,
Garbage.
I would end up playing some forward just because even though I wasn't tall, I was like stronger and bulkier than enough people where I could still get rebounds, but definitely more guard than forward.
Yeah. We were not good. I was trying to think of a good example. I'd be like the Zach LaVine of the team. Put up points. The team was shit.
I was I don't know, like I'm trying to think of a good comparison, like a Nick Young, just go out there and chuck up threes and don't really care if they go in.
That was every one of my friends on our team. Just bombing. Anytime they had even like a hint of air, just let it sail. And that's probably why we were 0-27.
Yeah.
We went 3-18, I think, in freshman year, which was that first win we got after a 2.5-year journey was was fun, man. It was fun. And then we beat the girls team in 8th grade. That was our crowning achievement. Our girls team was pretty good, and they would talk a lot of shit. So they organized the girls basketball versus guys basketball team as like an event for our middle school. We fucking beat the brakes off of them as expected. It was fantastic. That was not happening. Oh man, good stuff. Portland and Utah, 106.75 implied total for the Blazers. Can you guys talk DFS and not your bad basketball days? Talk whatever I want. 106.75 for the Blazers, 104.75 for the Jazz. Not a really appealing fantasy game for me, clearly. We'll start with Dame, 9,400 on FanDuel, 8,500 on DraftKings. He's projected for 20% ownership, which is not shocking whatsoever. What do you do with Dame here?
So it's basically Dame versus Kemba versus Kyrie. And if Dame is going to be the most popular, I'll take the other two. Yeah. I think they're all just really similar in terms of the upside that they give you. Obviously it's too cheap of a price tag for Dame, no question about that. But I don't think he's like a significantly better play than Kyrie or Kemba.
Yeah, I didn't get much on FanDuel at 94, but 8,500 is super cheap. This pricing now this season is just... We need to figure out a way to like measure people relatively against each other, because you just see these prices and it's like, oh, Dame is going to smash that. But you have to recalibrate the fact that there's 8 other guys at that exact same price tier now.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of, I started to be like, yeah, I don't know how you don't play $8,500 Dame. I don't care who he's playing against. And then it was like, oh, well, you have $8,700 Kyrie and $8,600 Kemba. So that's how.
Yeah, everybody's just right there.
And that's just off the point guards.
Yeah. What about $7,800 Yusuf Nurkic on FanDuel or $6,600 Yusuf Nurkic on DraftKings?
I mean, it's just really tough because he's in that same price point as Enes Kanter, but it certainly makes him an appealing pivot. Like if you're playing, there's a $5 tournament with like 89,000 people or whatever on DraftKings today with $100K for first. If I assume Enes Kanter is going to be chalk, it's not that Kanter's a bad play, but it's a lot easier for you to win $100,000 by playing Yusuf Nurkic than it is by playing Enes Kanter.
Yep. Indeed. CJ, 6,300 on FanDuel, 6,400 on DraftKings. This is a weird team, man. CJ is the exact opposite of this pricing. Incredibly priced on FanDuel, terribly priced on DraftKings.
Yeah, I have zero interest on DraftKings.
I have quite a bit of interest on FanDuel. Not that I'm proud of it because it's CJ McCollum and I get him wrong constantly. Yeah, whatever. Aminu, Harkless, these guys are popping up for me. I don't like it. What do I do with this Portland team?
Fix your projections. I don't know.
That one stung. One stung for real. But really, it's like I've got a lot of CJ, Aminu, and Harkless. I need to go back to the drawing board, I think. And if they play well, then we're gonna use that audio in a promo.
Speaking of McCollum, just worth mentioning, like 2 games ago, we saw Terry Stotts stagger his minutes with Lillard, and I got really excited because I thought maybe we were going to start getting that, and it was going to make McCollum and Lillard both better. The last 2 games, that has not happened. We're back to them playing almost all their minutes together. Lillard gets a couple extra minutes with McCollum off, but Seth Curry's back in the rotation playing those backup point guard minutes, so it makes McCollum still unappealing.
Okay. Yeah, $6,400 on DraftKings is way too expensive for CJ right now, and I didn't think that I'd be saying that before this day started. Not this day, this season.
Yeah.
But again, it's all relative. Do you want anybody from Utah? Because they don't seem like a place where I want to have that much exposure.
I don't have anyone really popping up.
Makes perfect sense to me. I have Rubio popping up, but I gotta nerf that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the most appealing price tag is, 5,600 Rubio on DraftKings, but still just not like he's underpriced, but so not even talking the same price point, but talking the same position. Like Rubio's underpriced, but probably not as underpriced as that Dame Lillard tier.
Right. Yeah, he's $5,900 on FanDuel. He's in a tier with like Reggie Jackson and $600 more expensive than Van Vliet. He's cheaper than Moutier and Trae Young. So I like where he is relative to the guys around him.
Yeah, I think that. So, I mean, if Van Vliet were projected for like 30% ownership or something, and it's just dominating the ownership in that price range, then it makes Rubio more appealing.
Fred Van Vliet is at 19% expected ownership, but that is the second highest number on FanDuel today.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's basically a tournament pivot off of Van Vliet, but Van Vliet's the better projection.
Agreed. Ooh, sorry, Jazz. We're out of here. The Sacramento Kings hosting the Memphis Grizzlies. 107 implied total for the Kings. 105.5 for the Grizz. Oh, God, Sacramento. Big time pace down spot for Sacramento. Their rotation is, I don't want to say in flux, but unreliable might be the better word for it. We don't really know much about the health of a few of these guys. I want to make sure I get everybody correctly here. So Bogdan up in the air, Shump up in the air, Bagley definitely out. Do you want anybody here? The pricing on DraftKings is a lot better, so I'm a little bit more interested in what you've got.
I mean, it's still just not really that appealing because Memphis is just such a slow team. It's a huge pace down spot. If Bogdanovich is out and Shumpert is out, then it becomes a little bit different because you can just more confidently project 36 minutes for Buddy Hield, and 30 plus for Bjelica. But if they're fully healthy, it's just tough because like Fox and Cauley Stein would be the two guys that I'd be most interested in. But it's still just not like core plays for me.
I had to give somebody the boot in chat. Yeah, I agree. Willie Cauley-Stein at 5,700 is the guy that stands out the most to me on DK. But again, it's just a sea of underpriced centers for a full season. I'll play some Shump if we know he's in because he's 3,900 on FanDuel and I can drop him. But there's nothing here for me. Not on this site. 8,300 for Fox. Can't justify it with the way that this game should play down. I mean, slowing down De'Aaron Fox might be difficult, but I mean physically, not like crazy fast. I can't go to Hield. It's just a rough game for them. I am getting some Memphis though. Pace up spot for the Grizz.
Yeah.
Mike Conley, 8,400 on FanDuel, 7,900 on DK. I think this is probably the first time all year. And first of all, I need him to play, but I think this is the first time all year where I was like, wow, I got some Mike Conley.
Yeah, I think Conley's decent. I think that Memphis has some injury news that will go completely overlooked because they're not guys that people want to roster, but it actually will have an impact on the game with Joakim Noah and JaMychal Green both being questionable. If they're both out, not only should Gasol get more playing time with, if Noah's out, but and we saw that last game. Gasol got 36 minutes without Noah. Normally he's been playing like 32. Yeah. But also if JaMychal Green's out, suddenly you're looking at Jaren Jackson, if he can stay out of foul trouble, probably playing like 34 minutes.
So I got 25% Jaren Jackson on my first crunch. We're going down that rabbit hole again, man, where we message each other at lock like, yo, did you get like way too much Jaren Jackson?
Right.
Need him to stay on the floor, obviously, but it's just
Kyle
too good of a value.
Yeah, Kyle Anderson's too cheap on DraftKings too. I hate saying those words, but
4,600. I'm happy that he's 5,700 on FanDuel, so I know that my shit won't go crazy when I run a crunch.
Yeah, when I ran that dummy crunch, I was like, I just saw it as it was running. Like Kyle Anderson kept hitting the 60% cap, and I'm just like, what is going on this slate?
Yeah,
but $4,600 will do that.
It's such a monster pace up spot for the Grizzlies. These two teams are essentially dead opposites. I have Sacramento second in my pace metric, and Memphis is dead last. So anytime you get two teams on the floor like that together, it's really beneficial to the opposite side of it. So go some of the Grizz.
Yeah, and I mean, if JaMychal Green's out, then it just does even more to solidify those Kyle Anderson minutes as well.
God,
not that he needs a lot of help in that regard, but
his minutes are so weird too.
Yeah. Like normally I project him for 30, but he played 35 last game.
Yeah, and he'll play 22 in like the game before that or something stupid.
Yeah. But like if Green's out and you're taking those, 20 to 24 minutes, some obviously go to Jaren Jackson, but then it also just makes it so guys like Wayne Selden and whatever other random wings are going to be in the rotation for Memphis, they have just more minutes available for them, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know how much this matters for Jaren Jackson, but the Kings are 29th in free throw rate this year. So,
as in they do not get fouled.
As in they do not go to the line all that often.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to be taking shots on guys like Jaren Jackson, staying on the floor, I mean, this is as good of a shot as any. You don't want to get him in like games against, I don't know, like the Rockets, where James Harden's going to be in the paint on 45 drives.
Right. Yeah. Or the Pels against like Julius Randle and Anthony Davis.
Right. I think he should be fairly as safe as he can be here. Do you want anything else from Memphis?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Final game. It's a biggie. There's a lot up in the air. Wow, we got through. I still knew 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got through 9 games in an hour and 16 minutes. Damn, we're getting good at this. I think it was our vocation or something. Los Angeles Lakers hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. 119.75 implied total for the Lake Show. 114.75 for the Pels. Biggest total on the slate. Tons of injury news. Late night hammer spot. I mean, this is... If you're going to bed at 10 o'clock tonight, you don't really need to pay that much attention to where your scores are, because you can go from the top to the bottom or the bottom of the top real quick, depending on how this game breaks. Let's start with Bron. Well, let's start with this caveat first. Brandon Ingram back?
Yeah, I mean, he says he's back.
Right. Rondo?
Iman Shumpert also said he was playing last game.
Rondo is undecided if he will play today.
Oh, I hadn't even seen that.
Yeah. So I don't really know what to do with the Lakers right now. I have Rondo and Ingram both in as of right now. I don't really know what else to do with that. As we get any sort of news, if we get any sort of news, I'll try to update that. I just don't really know how to manage it. I love LeBron here. 11-2 on FanDuel, 10-9 on DK. I can't stop him from popping up. It's a pace up spot for LA. Pelicans defense is bad. Their rotation is in shambles because of injuries to Mirotic, potential injury to Randall. What do you want to do with LeBron?
I think a lot depends on Ingram. I mean, I like LeBron either way, but he's just been so different with and without Ingram on the floor this year. He's averaged 1.36 DraftKings points per minute with a 30% usage rate and a 30% assist percentage alongside Ingram. He's averaged 1.5 fantasy points per minute, 33% usage, 35.5% assist percentage without Ingram. So I think it makes a big difference for LeBron, but I also think he's underpriced regardless. So if Ingram's out, then I'd like him even more. If he's in, I think he's like a decent play, but I definitely like Davis more. If Ingram's in, then I think I like Giannis more than I like LeBron.
I'm starting to think that LeBron might not give a single shit if Brandon Ingram is on the floor now that he's back, but I don't know. They've been in this sort of like... They've looked so much better without him that I think Bron might be... This might be actually... Is there any chance that this is a showcase game for Brandon Ingram?
Yes, it's possible, yeah.
Being like, hey, here's a bunch of our guys. Let us know how many of these dudes you need so that we can let AD just switch locker rooms. Because that's the goal, right? Maybe Brandon Ingram goes bonkers. Dell Demps season, it's like, okay, we'll do Ingram, Josh Hart, salary filler, next year's first for AD. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, the Pelicans are playing in Seattle in 2 years. There was a time where I thought that if the Pels traded AD to like the Celtics and got the package of all the young dudes, it was like they might still be okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel that any longer. But I mean, if you build it around, I don't know, Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, Randall, Mirotic, I mean, you're not winning shit.
Yeah, no question.
What else do you want from LA today?
I mean, yeah, really nothing, I guess. It's kind of this game's weird in that it's a really appealing game, but it's because of like 2 or 3 players. And because like all the secondary guys are priced pretty well. I think Kyle Kuzma's fine, should play around 38 minutes, 36 to 38 minutes. But he's at 7,200. Like Ingram, I guess, is okay at 5,600. Lonzo's priced all the way up, and he certainly takes a hit with Ingram and potentially Rondo back. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just a weird game.
I don't really know what to do here. If JaVale plays, do you like him at 48 on DraftKings?
If he plays, yeah, but like didn't practice yesterday.
Yeah. There's too much up in the air, man. I really hope that we can get some news early. The whole scope of this game is sort of in flux, which kind of sucks for us trying to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, if Ingram and Rondo are both out, not only is LeBron better, but I think then Lonzo still, has a monster ceiling.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be in for sure for Lonzo. I'd probably have a bunch of interest in Kuzma even at 7,200 just because of the pace of this game. Oy. For the Pels, 12-6 for Anthony Davis, 11-7 on DraftKings. Went to the locker room in the last one with a bum tummy, came back and still smashed, went for 2.3 fantasy points per minute, continues to be at that rate, 1.73 over the last 30 days. We're assuming that AD plays, right?
Yeah. I'm assuming AD plays. I have no idea on Julius Randle.
Yeah. I have Randle in right now because I don't really see a way around it. Mirotic obviously not in. Do you have any like AD hot takes other than like this is obviously a great spot?
If Randle's, you mean like if Julius Randle's out, AD scores 100 points?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean there's no like negative AD hot take.
Right, that's what I mean. Like you're in for basically whatever you get under really any set of circumstances, and it only gets better if more and more people drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Drew Holiday, 9,400 on FanDuel, 9,000 on DK. I'm fine with it.
So am I. It's just he kind of falls into that same category I was talking about with the Lakers, where I love the pace of this game. I love the game in general, but when you look at the prices, I think 9K on Drew is fine, but when you compare it to like $8,000 DeRozan or $8,100 Oladipo, not to mention all those point guards on DraftKings with Lillard and Kemba and Irving, I don't know. It's a fine spot. If I get him, I get him, but it's hard to really be like really stoked for it like you are with Davis.
Yeah, 9,400 is tough. Certainly a great spot. You wouldn't be upset about it, but that's creeping up a little high. Randall, 7,500 on DK. If you get word that he is in, how much Randall are you ending up with?
A lot. So, I mean, he would play like, 36 minutes or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think he would have to.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be pretty tough not to have, like, insane. And you can obviously play him with Davis.
Yeah, that's a fantastic spot. What do you think of the $8,700 price tag though on FanDuel?
He's still a center.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes it really tough when you have Cantor for a lot less.
Yeah, $2,000 cheaper.
If I give on DraftKings, if I give Anthony Davis 38 minutes and I give Randall 36, I end up with like a 63-point projection for Davis and like a 47-point projection for Randall. So they would just both end up being guys that I have a ton of.
Do you want any other part of the Pels?
Not really. I mean, if you want to like roll the dice on those like $4,400 Tim Frazier, Etuan Moore spots, then the pace will be really nice, but nothing that I'm prioritizing.
Yeah, that's sort of the problem here. Somebody, probably on both sides, is going to come out of this on a bit of a heater, but it's such a grab bag that you really do have to rotate through a lot of different dudes.
Right. So I guess I said what I had Davis projected at if Randall's in. If Randall's out, I end up with like a 75-point projection for Anthony Davis.
God damn. I totally understand.
Yeah, and I don't even feel that like I feel fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, if he plays at a 2 fantasy point per minute pace, which is significantly under where he's been with Randall off the floor, that's 72 fantasy points in 36 minutes.
Yeah. I think the only other guy that I've had projected around 75 points this year was James Harden in that game against the Wizards without Chris Paul.
There was that one game where you had Giannis at like 94 or something
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Forgot about that one.
I think we are done here.
Yeah.
Which means it's Thrive time. Hop over to Thrive Fantasy and let's take a look at our favorite 5 props for tonight. Nah, don't like the first one. All right, let's do this. One's going to be... We're going to go back to people that we haven't talked about for a little bit in games that may or may not be less appealing. First up, points plus assists, 20.5. Where do we land on D'Angelo Russell?
You said 20.5?
Yep. 95 points for the over.
I have him at like 25 points plus assists.
I have him at 24, so I think we are both smashing the over of D'Angelo Russell tonight.
Yeah.
All right, let's find some more fun ones. Okay. Anthony Davis. Even action.
Over. I don't even know what it is. But
turnovers. No. even action on the over and the under. Anthony Davis, 28.5 points.
All right. So if Randall's out, I have him at 39.5 points.
That feels high.
I'm at 32 if Randall's in. So, or no, I guess I'm at 30.5 if Randall's in. So I guess still the over.
I have him at 30.7. So I am also taking the over on Anthony Davis. Are you looking at them right now by any chance?
Yeah, I have them up now.
Do you have any that are standing out to you that you would want to take a look at?
God,
that's a weird one.
I like the Conley points plus rebounds plus assists.
Okay. I like the ones that are like a lot of different shit.
Yeah.
Mike Conley, 95 points for the over, 28.5 points plus rebounds plus assists.
Looks like I have him at like 32. So I have 20.
You download my sheet today? Damn.
So I have 27.5 plus 3.3, so 30.8 for Conley.
I have him at 32.6. As I mentioned when we were going over this, today was a Mike Conley day for me that I didn't see coming. So again, I'm smashing the Mike Conley over.
I think it's really close. Like, yeah, I would take the over with mine, but if I was getting a little bit more on the under, then it would probably be worth it.
If it were the 90, 110, you start getting into like towing the line.
Yeah. Points plus rebounds, DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be under here, but 105 points go to the over.
I can almost guarantee I'm over.
DeMar DeRozan, 105 for the over. Points plus rebounds, right?
Yeah, points plus rebounds, 25.5. I have him with more than 25.5 points.
I have him at, what was the line? 25.5. Shit, I got the over as well. 29.2.
Yeah, I have 27.3 just points and then 6 rebounds.
24.5 and 4.5, basically. One more. Who is appealing? And some of these guys at the beginning of like the games that we talked about an hour and a half ago, I don't even remember opinions any longer.
Right.
Like Thad Young steals. Just like I can't even get there in my head, but they're interesting props.
Yeah. I have 1.5 Thad Young steals, by the way, so I guess I would take the over.
Ooh, do you? You have it 1.5 on the dot?
Yeah.
Let me just enter it. We'll give you a bonus one. I have it at... What did you have it at?
1.5.
Yeah, I have it at 1.7, so I'm clearly taking the over.
Yeah.
Wow, that feels like a really, really good spot to take. Like probably close to the best play of the list.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because I would assume, and obviously don't have like a ton of, data on this, but I would assume that like people probably don't play the steals like props that often.
Yeah.
But
although
yeah.
if they're playing this one, I find it hard to believe that many people are taking the under and that giant point discount.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That's where the game theory stuff comes into mind. It looks so great on the surface, but if 70% of the people take the over, how valuable is taking the over?
But you don't play every pick either, so like you also have to factor in like how many people are just not playing that pick, and you can get 125 points on them.
Yeah. Drive, man, you're crazy. Let's finish this out. One last one. I want one that stands out. And it's not Willie Cauley-Stein blocks and steals. Like I would have done Blake's points, but not confident he plays this game. Okay, Tim Hardaway Jr. points and rebounds, even action on both sides. 21.5.
I have the over.
I have it by a mile.
Yeah, so do I. I probably have Tim Hardaway's usage under projected, and I still have more points than 21.5.
Yeah. I got to 26.2 on this one. So give me the over on Timmy. And that is it, everybody. We are done. 10 games, an hour and a half. I'm proud of us. We've come a long way. 24 days of giveaways. Hit that like button. Comment after the video. We got one? We got anything?
No. Deeper dive show at, I guess, 4:45 tonight with Lofty and me.
Oh, we have lots to plug here. So coming up right after this, we will have Awesemo Odds talking about bowl game betting and NFL Week 16 at 3:30 today, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes, I said Eastern Time. That one's for Adam and Laffy. We will have, on the contrary, not a Saturday show tomorrow. On the contrary, Evan Silva, Alex, Chris Baggs, talking about this weekend's NFL games. We are going live today at 3:30. Obviously, it will be available for people to digest afterwards, but it's not a Saturday show this week. And then we will go to the deeper dive at 4:45, live before lock, myself, and Fast Eddie, taking you all the way up to 7 o'clock. Like and comment. Comment whatever you want. Bring the general joy, bring the happiness, bring the karma level up for everybody. Say something nice in your comment. It's always good. NBA strategy promo code. I guess so much to plug right now this holiday season.
You can also just comment about how much you want to fight Josh. Those are good too.
Yeah, you would not be the first person to do it. So that's all I've got, everybody. Yeah, go to awesemo.com/avatar if you want to have a chance to win a free sub. You can use our logo as your avatar on either DraftKings or FanDuel. Tons to check out, everybody. We will be back. God, when?
Monday?
Together will probably be back Wednesday.
Yeah.
No show on Monday. No basketball whatsoever on Monday. Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day, I will be around from 11 to 12 to announce our winner of our contest. But that's it. Everybody, have a good weekend. Have a good holiday. We will talk to you later.